July 25th, 2018, and I'm going to be doing my pregnancy updates week 20 through 27. So I have a couple apologies to start off. I did not make a video for the last 4 weeks, the last time. I'm so sorry. I just never really got around to it. I kept pushing it off, and next thing I know, it was already in my next week. So I'm just gonna combine them all, the two kind of videos or whatever the updates. So 20 through 23, and then 24 through 27. Another thing is I do have my daughter here. Normally I don't film with her, but I have her today. She's coloring, so if you hear stuff moving, she's coloring. She is sitting here, so whining may occur. Also, I do have my AC on, and I thought I try and keep it off. Sometimes I forget, but intentionally I try and keep it off. However, it is way too hot. It is middle of July, middle of summer, and I cannot go without my beautiful AC. So I'm not going to ramble on much because I have a lot to kind of go over. So let's just get started. So with week 20, we found out the gender of our baby, which it is a girl. If you've been watching, you kind of already know this, but we are having another girl. We are super excited to have another girl. We do have a name for her. We were taken a bit back, not that we didn't want a girl, to tell you the truth, before actually having known the gender of our baby, or like when I was pregnant. I really didn't care, because either way it would have been good. If we would have had a boy, I would have loved having one of each gender. I did want a boy with my first pregnancy, so that would have been exciting to kind of have. But if I would have had a girl, Melody would have gotten along with her so well. They would be best friends. Something, you know, I really do want for her. I'm pretty sure we'll have more kids, so it wasn't like something that I was afraid of she wasn't going to get, but I am really excited. She is going to be having a sister so close in age. They are going to be so close. Hopefully, you know, there will be fights. There will definitely be tons of fights, especially girlfriends, especially when in their teen years. It's going to be trouble, but I am excited. We were taken back though, because at our 11-week ultrasound I had a while ago, our technician did predict it being a boy, and she wasn't supposed to tell us, and we're not upset at all. Well, I think my husband is a little upset. Me, not so much. She just told us what she saw, and she saw that it was a boy. So she told us with all the confidence. She was like, it's a boy, and she's kind of just disclaimer. She's like, you know, it's not 100%, which I know for sure, because 11 weeks is just way too early to tell. But that's what she did tell us, and now that we're being told it's a girl, it's something we have to wrap our head around. We already did. It's been a while. It's already been like 8 weeks. We know that it's a girl. However, at the time, we were expecting to be hearing that it was a boy. I had already had the 10-ish, 9 weeks to wrap my head around the fact that it was going to be a boy. I was freaking out. I was super excited. We probably already had a name. I hadn't really talked about it quite yet, just because we didn't want to jinx it, but whatever. It did turn out to be a girl. We did have a girl named too. So that's what happened. Nothing pregnancy wise. I have a list here of like what I've been doing, and I have not been good at taking notes, so this was still like my second trimester, which it was just a breeze. There was nothing really going on, so I don't really have anything except for the fact that it was a girl. Week 21, I was experiencing a lot more pregnancy brain. In the earlier ones, it was like very faint, kind of foggy, you know, starting to kind of see the fog, but like at 21 weeks, it was like complete fog, and like I was having a harder time to concentrate and try to think of things that I was doing. I just couldn't remember anything. Even when making this list, I can't remember. I had to ask my husband, but you know, men are useless when it comes to that kind of stuff. They just kind of whoosh. Definitely couldn't remember anything. And then also around this time, I started to get the return of fatigue, so that kind of just sucked again. It wasn't as bad as the first trimester. It was just a little bit, but I definitely did take advantage of naps or coffee or both sometimes, but it basically returned. At week 22, I had started getting this really bad like pain in my crotch area, kind of comparable to doing some splits. When I was just moving my legs a bit and it would hurt. I would be trying to put my pants on and it would hurt. This has been going on since, not as badly around this time. It has subsided since now. However, it was a big deal and something I never heard about. I've heard a lot about pregnancies. My aunt has gone through so many pregnancies. I've seen her go through so many pregnancies. I've watched other people's pregnancy updates and I haven't really heard this, so I did want to mention it because it is something that both my other pregnancy and this one I've experienced. With my other pregnancy, I was working full-time, standing on my feet in sales, so I just figured it was a lot to do with the baby sitting on my cervix a lot, and just stepping to the side was a lot of pain. However, I'm home now all the time. I am staying at home with my child and I do sit a lot and I don't stand for long periods of time. And if I do get tired, especially pregnant, I will sit down and rest. So I thought that it had to do with standing up and having the baby on my cervix, but I find that it is not. I don't know if that's just with everyone or not, or with just with me, but that is going on with me. Week 23, my hip has been hurting. Now, I don't know how much I've explained about my hip. My left hip is kind of like my bum hip. Ever since I was 16, I want to say, I started having a really bad issue with my hip. It just one day started hurting so badly, and I just never really got rid of the pain ever. I have tried going to the chiropractor and it kind of helps, but I cannot be going to the chiropractor consistently like they're telling me to do. So I can't continue with that. It really in my last pregnancy was a huge pain because I was standing all the time and I was pregnant. I was holding all this weight. I was limping all the time and I was just trying to fight through the pain. I try not to complain about it a lot, but since being at home, stay-at-home mom, I'm not on my feet all the time. I'm not on my hips, and if I'm tired, I will rest, which has been such a great thing for me. However, around 23 weeks, it's just started to hurt it again, and I think it was the style in which I was sleeping, and I've tried switching it up, and nowadays it's not as bad. However, at week 23 it was excruciating. Like I had been standing and I was confused because I had not been standing all day and I didn't understand where the pain was coming from. So that is something I just wanted to mention. I think it has to do with your hips moving as your uterus is starting to grow. Your hips do move. With my previous pregnancy, around that time, it actually kind of stopped hurting. I was having a lot of pain, then it stopped hurting, and then it came back. So I find that now it is the opposite of that, but I will get into that later. So that was it for those 4 weeks. I didn't really have much to update. I could have probably given more if I would have remembered, because I wrote everything down like around 26 weeks, I want to say, which is really bad. I did have cravings during that time. I don't remember which week it was, but now I'm going to be adding like cravings into these updates because I feel that is something that, you know, every pregnancy goes through. Something weird that I can remember that I had a craving for was strawberry Nesquik, and I gotta say, I do not like that stuff at all. Absolutely not. For some reason, it popped in my head. My husband was going to 7-Eleven to get some Slurpees, and for some reason I really wanted a strawberry Nesquik, and that was the only thing on my mind. So I told him, if you happen to get it, if you happen to see it, get it. It wasn't that I needed it, it was just on my brain, and when I drank it, it was so good. Like if you've ever had a soda that was super, super carbonated and super delicious, and you just feel your eyes fill with like watery goodness per se, that's how I felt with the Nesquik, the strawberry Nesquik. And it's so weird, I do not like the strawberry Nesquik, but that's what I wanted. Now about the weight gain, I gained a total of 2 pounds during those 4 weeks, which brought me to my original pregnancy weight. I have lost 6 pounds and totally gained 6 pounds, so we're back to square one. Now that we are caught up with the video that should have gone up 4 weeks ago, we can finally do week 24 to week 27. So week 24, I feel that I started kind of nesting. It was really weird. I would start cleaning and my brain would be really consumed with how we're gonna set up the room to have the baby, what we're gonna do. I was really kind of consumed, and I kind of feel like I don't want to say it was nesting, because nesting, I'm not sure, comes more towards the 3rd trimester or closer to when the baby actually starts coming. However, that it was just consuming me. I was looking at online things. We did end up getting some stuff for the baby because it was just consuming me, constantly cleaning, rearranging, and I already have like my thought in how I'm gonna try and combine the girls' wardrobes. And you know, I already kind of wanted to start opening up some of Melody's old clothes to put them up, but it's just way too early, and we don't really have the space to have that just sitting there. So I had to really restrain myself when it came to that time. It has subsided now that I am doing this update and I'm seeing these notes. I have not been nesting. So week 25 is kind of when I started noticing a bit of difference between my previous pregnancy and this pregnancy. One of them being my hip issue, and the second one being a weird thing that I had experienced, and I have heard some people mention it, but not a lot, and that would be bleeding gums. I had bleeding gums in my last pregnancy a very lot, and at first I was kind of freaked out. But then I realized it is a pregnancy thing and it's very common, so I didn't freak out. And I kind of expected it with the 6th pregnancy as well, and I never saw it, I never thought about it because it just didn't occur. But it occurred to me around 25 weeks that I haven't had that. I haven't had the bleeding gums, so I found that very interesting. So there are definitely a lot of differences between or some differences between my last pregnancy and this pregnancy. And also around this time, my pregnancy brain has skyrocketed. It has been beyond see, I can't even talk. It was very scary. I was driving along and I was just so spaced, and I was driving through the streets and I noticed there was a red light, and I kept driving, and it took me about 2 seconds to realize that red light meant stop. So I did end up screeching my brakes, and I did not crash, which was very good, but it was a very scary experience. It could have been pretty bad. So it is around this time that I had to give up my driving for the safety of myself and my child, because when I do drive, it is normally with my child, and I cannot put either of us, my family, in danger. So I've been homebound most of the time because of that pregnancy brain. So on to week 26, I had an OBGYN appointment, and then they're starting to do every 2 weeks. So before, when I first became a patient with my OBGYN, I would visit every 4 weeks, so on a monthly basis. Now we're kind of getting close to that 3rd trimester, so that is when she said, okay, next time you come, you're going to be coming in 2 weeks. So that is pretty exciting. We get to hear the baby's heartbeat every 2 weeks now, and we don't have to wait every month. Also around 26 weeks, I feel that I've experienced Braxton Hicks contractions. I did not experience this at all, or was I aware of it in my previous pregnancy, but I did feel like discomfort, not like pain or anything. I've heard some Braxton Hicks contractions can be pretty painful, but it was discomfort, and I started feeling on my stomach and it was tight. So I'm not sure, but that was my guess that they are Braxton Hicks, and it was pretty not consistent, but like throughout that week I think I had like 3. At week 27, the dreaded glucose test happened, and I took the Tdap or DTAP. I forget what it is. It's a shot that you take. Anyways, they put it in my arm. It hurt, made me feel sick. That happened to my last pregnancy as well. It was not a good experience. Also with the glucose test, I had to end up taking 2. First one was the regular hour glucose test, and they said that the levels came out a little high, so they wanted me to do a 3-hour glucose test. This did not happen with my this did not happen with my previous pregnancy. My doctor said my sugar levels were exact opposite of high. This time around they're saying it's a little high, so I did have to return and take a 3-hour glucose test. Unfortunately, with the second test, it did come out abnormal, so it seems that I do have to visit a dietitian, a prenatal dietitian, for maintaining lower sugar levels, but I will talk about that later. That is not the video for it. I will have to do more research and have to do a whole other video on that. But now that we've come to the end of week 27, we've officially entered third trimester. There's different apps that say you're entering at this time. My doctor said I had entered it around 26 weeks, but officially, for sure, no doubt about it, by the end of week 27 we are in my third trimester. So currently I'm at week 28. Not finished it yet. However, I am now in my third trimester. Cravings those past 4 weeks, or these past 4 weeks, one of them was In-N-Out. I live in California, so we do have the luxury of having In-N-Out, and for some reason I wanted it. I'm not like the biggest fan of In-N-Out. It is definitely a delicious burger, but it's not something I crave. But this with one of these weeks or whatever, I really wanted it, and my husband was generous enough to get it for me. And recently, I think this past weekend, I had been craving pancakes, and so that's it for the cravings. Weight gain, I have gained a lot more within the past 4 weeks than I have in a while, which I gained a total of 4 pounds. So I'm not sure how to feel about that, because it's good, and I'm 4 pounds over my starting weight, but within like 4 pounds within 4 weeks, maybe a pound per week or something, I don't know. But that's what I have. I have to finish this up because it is getting long and my battery is dying. So I will show you my bump shot. I'm sad that I don't have my bump shot for last 4 weeks, or the one before from week 20 to 23, but I do have it for 24 to 27. So this is basically the bump shot for week 20 to 27. And today I'm wearing a dress. It's really nice, and this dress kind of doesn't really show off the bump. I do have like 2 dresses that are form-fitting, but this one just kind of falls over it. So this is the bump. I'm actually having a bump. A lot of it used to be tummy, but this is basically bump. I've been having a lot of movement. I don't know why I don't have this in my notes, but the baby has been moving so much. Finally, we are gotten to the point where my husband or someone can feel it externally, because previously I could feel it, no one else could feel it. I'm trying to get the baby to feel it. I feel that she has felt it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just the way she's reacted. Sometimes she's just sitting there and then she'll randomly start kissing my stomach. So I feel that sometimes she realizes that something's moving in there, and then she's like, that's my sister. And she has been really clingy since I have been growing, and I think maybe she has felt the baby move. she has been beyond clingy. So that's part of the update, and I'm not sure where to categorize that because that has been happening these entire 8 weeks. That's all I have for you today. I have to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm hoping to be able to continue to do these updates every 4 weeks on the dot when I'm supposed to be. And I also want to do some updates on my sugar situation, my blood sugar situation. So you can definitely check me out in any of my next videos. See you then.